Karl Watson. Ha, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. How about yourself?
You and I go way back.
Oh yeah.
I remember meeting you for the first time, rolled up to Embarcadero, and you showed me around. You pointed out a few of the heads there to maybe be a little wary of and just, approach with caution.
You were good.
I managed to hang in there, but it was amazing to see what guys like you were doing, Mike Carroll, Henry Sanchez. I mean, I feel very blessed that I was able to be there and see people just innovating. One of the things that is similar between science and skateboarding is that innovating, right? I mean, I love watching basketball or a couple other sports, sure, but the game of basketball really hasn't changed that much in the last 100 years. In the last 5 years or 10 years, skateboarding has changed so much. It's progressive, and science is the same. There are fundamentals that will always be there. They're the laws of physics. They're the laws of chemistry. But this field that I'm in, neuroscience, and trying to understand how the brain works, it doesn't look anything like it did 5 years ago, and that's what makes it fun. So it's always evolving and changing, and skateboarding is a lot that way too.
I mean, God, let's talk about your career, man. Get us up to speed. I mean, everything you got going on with the podcast, your career.
My job is just to simply try and give people tools so they can live better lives and perform better in their various pursuits. If it's school or skateboarding, I'm blessed to do a lot of work with special operations military because I have a couple close friends who are in the SEAL teams. So I'm at the interface of all these different communities. And what I keep hearing and I keep feeling is that whether or not it's a skateboarder or a school teacher or some kid in the Midwest who's like depressed or whatever, entrepreneurs, they all want the same thing, which is sleep better, feel better, be able to learn faster, keep your head out of depression as much as you can, avoid addictions as much as you can. And for the high performers, for the people that are really like pushing the envelope on what they're doing, art or skateboarding, whatever, to be able to reach further and faster with more intensity every day. And so that's where I'm at. I'm really just trying to live in service. I started posting on Instagram little science facts, things to improve sleep, to control stress, things for mental health and that kind of thing. And then I started my own podcast. And the reason I started my own podcast was all these skateboarders started coming out of the woodwork from way back when. Mike Blayback, he's done the video and photos for the podcast, mostly the photos. So yeah, Blayback has done all the aesthetics and has put the design to it. So like, yeah, go with the best. And it's been really amazing. Dan Mancina, Nick Mullins, Danny Way, like Jason Ellis, like folks coming back out that I haven't been in contact with in years. Some of who I knew earlier and some of who I knew less well, Steve Ruge, all these people. And so now I feel like I've been sort of reconnected with the community, and it's been amazing.
Well, that brings me to my next question. So how is skateboarding help you? How did it help you segue into becoming a neuroscientist?
Taught me that you keep trying something over and over and over again. That's certainly critical for science because science is hard. You fail most of the time. And then when you finally get a breakthrough and you discover something and it really holds up, or you publish that paper, feels amazing. So much better because of the huge stack of failures you have behind that and underneath it leading up to it. The other part, one, is community and camaraderie. Like, look, I to this day, I have great friends. Skateboarding was about being that huge pack, but also people push you. When you have a community and you hear about people doing things or you see somebody doing something amazing, it pushes you, and you use that as fuel to realize what's possible. Skateboarding is an amazing template for life.
I love that. Let's talk about this phenomenon. How come some days when you get on your skateboard, everything's working well, you're on point, you're landing every trick, and then some other days you go skate the next day, you think you got everything on point, then everything just feels off. Why is that?
Here's the reason. The brain and your ability to do new things, new tricks, or even tricks you already knew how to do, depends on how much you focus when you're learning and then how deeply you sleep. All your brain changes happen in sleep. They're triggered by focus, but the brain changes that underlie learning happen in sleep. So if you're on, chances are you focused right during the learning and you're getting enough sleep, or the right depth of sleep. And if you're off, I'd be willing to bet you're not sleeping right.
So are there any like breathing techniques or anything you can recommend to lower the stress to keep us focused while we're trying the trick?
Yeah, so my lab's worked a lot on this. There are two breathing tools that I'll give you. First of all, to calm down quick, like let's say you're getting amped up or you don't want to be stressed and you're stressed or you're getting frustrated, you're trying something over and over. Inhale twice through your nose with no exhale in between. So inhale deep through your nose and then a second inhale and then you exhale long through the mouth. It's called the physiological sigh. If you do that just once, maybe twice, you'll come down to calm really fast. And the reason it works,
I can already feel it in my brain. I can already feel it. What I want.
Sometimes people will even yawn. They'll go, oh, it's long exhale. So what you're doing is there's a buildup of a gas in your system called carbon dioxide. That is a big part of the stress response. And when you do the double inhale, you fill up your lungs you collect all the carbon dioxide into your lungs. And then when you do that long exhale, you're getting rid of all that stuff that makes you stressed. And so it's really fast. That's one tool. The other one is you can breathe really deep, 25 breaths through your nose, out through your mouth like this. I'm not going to do 25 right now, but you go. By the time you hit 25, you're going to be stressed. Because when you breathe like that, you release adrenaline into your body. And adrenaline is the hormone that makes you ready for things. Your pupils dilate, makes you ready for action. But what you do at the end of that 25 breaths is you exhale all your air and then you hold your breath and you stay calm. So you're teaching your brain to be calm when you have a lot of adrenaline in your system.
That's a great tool. Great advice. Thank you for that. Let's talk about physical, mental trauma when doing a trick. So say somebody, Joe Schmo is trying to kickflip back lip down a 12-stair handrail and he sliced his face open when he hit it on the ground at the bottom of the stairs, whatever. So the guy is like very traumatized over it. What kind of effect does that have on us, and how do we get over that trauma to face those fears again and do the trick?
This is going to sound weird, but this is based on something called EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing. Forget the name if you want, but when you move your eyes from side to side like this, it looks crazy, but like from side to side like this, you actually shut down the brain area that's responsible for fear, called the amygdala. This was discovered not by my group, but by 5 other labs. There's some really good papers on this. And you might say, well, that's crazy. Why would moving the eyes from side to side do that? Well, turns out that when you move forward, walking, skateboarding, running, anytime you're moving forward, your eyes actually do this thing of moving from side to side, and that shuts down the fear pathway. You can bring your fear level down by doing these eye movements for maybe 10, 15 seconds. You do need your eyes open, and it's basically from side to side. It looks ridiculous, I know, but that reduces the amount of fear in your brain.
Thank you for that. So let's talk about the reward system. So many people say that, when you post on Instagram, social media, and you get a bunch of likes, you get a hit of dopamine. But after studying your work, I've learned it's on the contrary. And I want you to touch on how that works.
Yeah, so there's a chemical called dopamine we release anytime we're in pursuit of something. And if you care about your life, you want to protect your dopamine very carefully. Here's my brief advice. Never let your dopamine go too high or too low. We all love positive feedback. We all love praise. That's basic to being a human being. But the best thing you can do is learn to associate feelings of motivation and drive to the effort process itself, not to the reward. Because if you can associate dopamine with hard work and effort, then you will essentially guarantee yourself success over time. If you associate dopamine with the reward and only the reward, chances are you're not going to do well over time. And one way you could do this in skateboarding is every time you try something, you should tell yourself, I'm on the right path. I'm trying. And when you make it, you should feel great, but don't let yourself celebrate to the point of like your max. Never hit 100%, because what you're doing is you're keeping that dopamine in reserve for more motivation. And the other thing here is relates to things like Instagram and like you show up and you call the trick, you're like, I'm going to do this, this, or this. And then you make it, you're actually taking that dopamine and you're giving away some of it for other people's feedback for you.
So say I'm going to some like ledge spot, and I'm like, beforehand, I tell my friends, I'm going to do this 180 hill, switch back Smith, switch front 180 out, claiming hard, right? And then when I get there, I lose the motivation to actually do it. Is it because I already spent that dopamine by their reaction to my claiming of the trick?
Oftentimes, yes. I know so many people that have said, I'm going to write a book. And then people tell them, oh, yeah, you should write a book. That'd be amazing. Guess what? They never write the book. And the reason they never write the book is because they got all the dopamine from all the, oh, yeah, you should do that. That'd be great. It's going to be so good. Guard that stuff. It's the key to a good life. It's the key to a progressive life. And it's yours. And you get to decide what to do with it.
How about learning tricks in one's dream? I learned one trick in my dream a long time ago. I spoke about it on the Slap forum once, and other people have the same experience.
What trick was it?
I learned a switch front side 360 in my dream. I had the hardest time doing it. My back foot kept slipping off, and in my dream, I did it really smooth off of like a 3-block, and then the next day I was able to do it. I don't have them now, but that day I can do them. I did it like within 4 tries.
Beautiful. We definitely learn in sleep. And sometimes we remember our dreams, sometimes we don't. There's an advanced tool, which is that before you go to sleep, you can think about the thing you're trying to learn for a few minutes and then go to sleep. And there's some evidence that pushes your dreams and your sleep toward that thing. Some people write it down and it pushes your brain plasticity related to that particular event. That's a cool story that you just told, because there's many famous discoveries in science have been made by people going to sleep, waking up, and then having the answer. And when we obsess, we bring that into our sleep, and then in sleep, we continue to work on.
Dope. So say you're at the top of a stair set, something that has a fear factor, and you have fear in your mind, right? You feel like something bad is going to happen because you're like preemptively kind of creating it with your thoughts. So then you go and try it and you get hurt because you're thinking about the fear. You're thinking about all the things that could go wrong possibly. So what's that all about? And how do we prevent that?
Well, laws of physics apply. You can get hurt bad in skateboarding. I've seen bad slams, right? I mean, I remember Rick Ebaceta's straight to the groin. Yeah, Rick had to go to the hospital. We've seen people knock themselves out, right? Our friend Addison got a good dent to the forehead. It can happen. Let's be honest. It can happen. You can hurt yourself badly. But when you obsess over getting hurt, you are putting your mind too far out in the horizon. So there is a process by which you can work through fear. So when you push toward the rail, if you're just thinking about pushing and then you get to the rail and then you update yourself on what you're going to do next, and then you update yourself on the landing, and then you update yourself on the ride away, that's how you have to do it. And you have to move the horizon of your consciousness, of your thinking. If you just think about riding away, that's not as good. And if you think about slamming, you're basically programming your body to slam. So people go, well, how can I control my thoughts? It's hard to control your thoughts. How do you shut down the negative thought? Thinking has 2 aspects. One is you can't shut down thoughts, but you can replace them with other thoughts. So you want to bring the horizon and push toward the railing, and then you update it, and then you update it again, and then again. Now that's all happening in real time, so it's hard, but at least you're not obsessing over hurting yourself.
Well, I know you're a busy guy, so I don't want to keep you much longer, but I want to talk about something that's really interesting to me. Is muscle memory a real thing, or is that a notion?
No such thing as muscle memory. It's total fiction. It's your nervous system, meaning your brain and your connections to the muscles. That's where your so-called muscle memory comes from. It's a brain thing. It's not, muscles have no knowledge of anything. They have no knowledge of how to fire in what sequence. It's all a brain thing.
Okay, is skateboarding a superior activity? Being a skateboarder, are we better off? Are we more capable than other people in society?
Absolutely, for the following reasons. One, it's all about failure, 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 and then success, failure, failure, success, which carries over to everything worthwhile in life. School, family, career, just life itself is about failure, 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 success. And if you understand that failures precede successes and you're willing to accept those, then you're going to be a happier, better person. And skateboarding teaches you that. 2, you have camaraderie, friendship, community, amazing. 3, creativity, it's innovative. You're always trying to push and it's changing, and you can use your mind and you can think outside the box. You can do things differently. 4, style is important. How you do things is as important as what you do. And that's really what will distinguish you in other areas of life too. You know, take 10 people, can all do the same thing. The person that could do it with that like particular flair, extra care, attention to detail makes all the difference. And then there's all the other stuff, which is, it's also just great fun. You're in adventure. And the big one, I think, the most important one is you're always in a process of neuroplasticity. You're always trying to change your brain. Most people, after childhood, their brain doesn't change. They just become set in their ways. Skateboarding, you know, people used to always joke, it's the fountain of youth. It really is, because it's really about learning and progressing forever. And whatever level you start off at, whatever level you're at, you're always trying to improve. And so you're keeping the brain circuits for plasticity alive. And that, I do believe, extends your life. It makes you live longer, not just happier.
Well, that finally answers the age-old question about skateboarding being the fountain of youth. Thank you.
And I will say this for skateboarders, you also have a direct line to me. If you just put, hey, I'm a skateboarder, I'm going to reply to your question. You get priority, because you all, we all, if I may.
You definitely may.
Thank you. We have a long history, and it's aside from my biological family, it was my first, what I felt like real community and family.
So if there's one last final word you want to share with the skateboard community, something that's been on your mind ever since you started, then you gained all this knowledge. We touched on a lot of different topics, but what's the final thing that you can send us off with?
Yeah, 1, don't quit. Just keep going. You know, be smart, take care of your body, take care of your mind, all the stuff we talked about, but keep going. 2, really take a look at what an amazing community it is. And you're part of a group that is truly unique and different. And 3, after everything I've been in touch with science and work with the military and all these other amazing communities and had so many opportunities and gifts in life, I'm convinced still that skateboarding really is the most powerful way to, you know, be in relation to the world around you. You look at the world differently, and it can really bring out the best in you. So you definitely need to find a way to have a career in whatever you do, but don't quit. Don't, you know, take it from me. Take it from somebody who made the mistake and then had to come back to it. Just whatever you're doing, just keep going.
And this is coming from a neuroscientist. I mean, you fully went to the next level, you know, and now you're coming back to skateboarding. That's a great advice, my man. Thank you for sharing. All right, again, guys, we are speaking with Mr. Andrew Huberman. He's an EMB legend turned neuroscientist. He gave us so much good information today. Thank you, Andrew. We love you, bro.
Thank you. And thanks to skateboarding for being so kind to me over the years, despite my, you know, departure and return every once in a while. I really appreciate it.
Once a skater, always a skater.
Thank you, Karl.
Peace.